This meeting is being offered remotely as an alternative means of public access pursuant to Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022 and all other applicable laws, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. So that's all legal stuff. And here's our agenda for today. We might want to add some stuff. I've already done the call to order. On we have Dave Jones, Heather Cashman, Michelle Blacconi, and John Rice. And we're still waiting on one other member, but I think that's enough to get rolling here. We want to, without objection, we want to add just a couple of things to the agenda. Want to just get a quick update on the agreement that the town has for funding an education position or part of an education position with the schools, and got to get an update on the addendum to the agreement that we have with Harbor Media. Is that what we wanted to do, Michelle? Those are the two things we want to add, right? To the agenda? Okay.
Yeah, just looking for an update. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Essentially, there's three documents that I really want to get through. We want to get the Verizon renewal through. We want to get the agreement between us, the town, and the schools, and we want to get the agreement between the town and Harbor Media. Those three things. We want to get them signed off. So we'll talk about those. Next up, I think I'll have John give us the details.
Can I just hold on? Just John just gave me a call. He needs to get the new link to get in. He says he'll be in 2 minutes.
Okay, well, we can wait a couple of minutes. Yeah, what day were we up there, John? The town hall? Thursday?
Yeah, I think just last week, I think, or Wednesday.
Yeah. So we met with John, and then we zoomed in Bill Solomon, who's our legal counsel. While we're waiting, Michelle, obviously you got access to the spreadsheet, so you can edit that. Thank you very much. I think the problem was I had I think I had your personal email address as so whatever.
Yeah, I did change that. So thanks for the new invite.
Not a problem. It's more for my edit. It's just easier for me to just fill out the forms, and it just takes care of filing it someplace, and I don't have to edit a document and all the rest of it. I have yet to get any feedback from our website form, but we'll see.
So he should be here soon.
All right.
Have we gotten the minutes from John, or is that something he's submitted, Dave? I don't recall.
I didn't see anything, so I think we don't have anything to peruse. I think we're up to date until at least till the last meeting we had.
Okay. And I know that so I don't know if you guys know Heather and Michelle, but the attorney sent us the letter that he forwarded to Verizon this afternoon. We had a discussion about some of the language. I don't think the Verizon person's gotten back to Bill Solomon yet, so there's probably nothing to report until. I mean, we can talk about what those provisions are, so you guys are up to speed. But we probably won't hear back from Verizon for even initially a couple of days. But Paul, who is their counsel, has to refer it to their counsel in Philadelphia, I believe, or wherever they're located. To get upper management to weigh in on it as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did, one tangential to that, we did change the meeting that we're going to at least do the license renewal on with the select board. We changed that to be on the April 4th meeting. Originally, I was trying to get on the 28th, but we thought it would be better to go to April 4th. The Verizon renewal comes due April 22nd, so as usual, we're waiting till the last minute. But so April 4th will be up there, hopefully signing off on this stuff. And
I see John's on board now.
all
Coming
right,
on board.
all right. So let's rock on here. John, why don't you just give us the final numbers that we all agreed to for capital with Tom?
Okay, well, I'll just give context. Again, so John, for John's benefit, we went to town hall, had a meeting with Tom Mayo, and Bill Solomon came in on Zoom so that we could orient Tom Mayo to where our negotiations stood and what some of the language was. Some of the outstanding issues that we wanted to try and cope with was in section 2.4 of the contract that we have. We wanted to make sure that we got a 270-day out as opposed to the 180 days that Verizon was proposing. As well as we felt that we should put a provision in there where they would have to notify not only the town, but their subscribers to that effect. But it was a matter of Bill sort of suggesting that they didn't want to pin them into a particular date, that we would use language that would be sort of, reasonable language, that they would have to do that. I mean, at the end of the day, if they don't want to do that, then it would be sort of behoove the town to let Verizon subscribers know that they're going to lose their cable service and that they have options. They could either go to Comcast or whatever else they choose to do, but that their cable would be gone within that time frame. I think some of the other things that he sent are not as germane, but really when we start talking about the money, he put a number of things in it that sort of suggests the rationale for why we're asking for the money that we are. On the gross revenue number that basically Verizon gives us, if you sort of break that into a 0.5%, which is near where our capital money is, we would be asking for roughly that $38,000 a year that we have been getting all along. Their revenue numbers have gone up, their subscriber numbers have gone down, but the money is basically the same. And the rationale behind asking them for the same amount of money is because they want a 3-year out, and for the privilege of not only not getting the 10-year deal like Comcast gets, but getting a 5-year deal and now a three-year out codified in their agreement. We feel that they should pay that money, and we believe that they should pay it within a 3-year period, because if they do pull out, we want to be able to capture that capital money to begin with. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about that. The operating capital would basically stay the same at 4.85% of gross revenues. That has been the standard that we've done. It can't really go up past 5%. In fact, it's not even really a good idea to go to 5% because it triggers other clauses where Verizon can basically give us additional costs. So it's better to be where we are at 4.85%, which is where we've been, and so it would stay the same. Does anybody have any questions about it?
Yeah, I just want to be clear. It seemed like Tom wasn't quite clear on what we were saying. Is this thing about Verizon wanting to get out in 3 years, is they have the option to do that, but it's not that they're not saying it's not a 3-year contract. It's a 5-year contract that has in it verbiage that allows them to get out 3 years. So it's not a done deal, I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean, they did similar thing last time and they went for
Right.
the full 5 years. So there's nothing, but they do have some technology that's on the horizon. That's the 5G that's made more progress.
Yep.
It's not in our area yet, but things change quickly in this thing. But one of the things we felt strongly is that in order to maintain the subscriber numbers that help fuel our public access, and that we needed to have plenty of time to be able to tell those subscribers that they can change rather than instantly going to cord cutting the whole time.
Right. And I thought it was interesting watching the Oscars. Verizon heavily advertised Plus Play, which is their streaming combination. And I thought that was kind of interesting that they're doing that too. So
yeah,
and I think that's a good move. I mean, if I was them, I would do that. And Xfinity is doing the same thing. You can get Prime, you can get HBO, you can get Netflix, you can get all your streaming services in one place. What you don't get, which as I understand it, with the Verizon offering of Plus Play, they will actually handle all the billing for you. So if you want to get Hulu and Netflix and all the rest of it, they'll take care of all the billing. You just give a bill to Verizon, and it takes care of all the.
And I wonder if it's for a cut.
Well, yeah, obviously, but they're all doing it. I mean, there's Paramount, there's there's a whole mix of them, and I subscribe to some of them. I am finding it's somewhat inconvenient to have to go hunting around to the different services that I have, streaming services I have in order to get anything. Now, if I had it in one place just for a little bit more money, that seems like a good deal, and I don't have a cable bill, but it'll probably turn out you'll spend more money, a la carte than you were with just cable, but that's a different discussion. So,
I mean, my understanding of it though was just that they have an app where you can manage the amount of services that you have, but that it was really no different than the subscription you would normally get. There wasn't any kind of like discount on it or anything like that.
I don't think there's a discount.
It just was a convenient way to be able to do your billing on it. But to a large degree, isn't that what basic pay cable is? I mean, it's just you look at your bill, you can call them up and say, I don't want this, I don't want that, I want this, I want that. And and then also with Verizon, once they go to that, where's your local channels going to be? And are they going to have the app that's going to give you the kind of sports channels that you want? Like, I know a lot of my friends, they would stick with cable because Nesson's not signed up to it. And so if you want Red Sox games and things, there's going to be people that are going to want to do that. So it's not, and I think it's a matter of like, people like what they're kind of familiar with to a certain degree, and if they're familiar with cable and they don't mind paying, then that's what it is. It's if you're in a neighborhood or a place where it's all about cost, and that's it, but I'm not sure in Hingham it's all about that for everybody.
That's for sure. It would just make me think that we may want to plan for if they do pull the trigger for us, for Harbor Media, or the cable. Somehow we should do some kind of thing. If we knew the date they pulled the trigger, it might be a good idea to have something that we run on the channels to say, by the way, this is happening. Here's, you can get a wonderful deal with Comcast. I don't know, whatever. I'm just thinking off the top of my head to use the channels to promote the fact that they're going away, that kind of thing. Does it make sense or no? Or so
I think the other thing I would like to report on the meeting, and Michelle and I spoke about this the other day, after a side conversation with Tom Mayo about the issue of capital monies being spent, and the idea that the money needs to be spent for only town buildings, that kind of thing. I think Tom realized that when I explained to him that, look, in the dynamic world of facilitating a production, something living in a space isn't necessarily the best use of those funds to do that. I mean, I think that he's concerned that, capital monies would be spent on things that might not be used for for government purposes, but, and the fact remains is that it usually gets used for multiple purposes, and because Harbor Media is doing, over 50% of their programming is sort of government related, certainly even more if you look at the amount of time that gets devoted to it, that I think what he was open to is to have Harbor Media give us a capital request, which we can debate and consider, and then, send it up the flagpole to the select board and to Tom to say, here's why we think this is a good idea. Mobile truck makes more sense, or you need microphones for this because we're spending all this money for the town meeting, having to rent, all this microphone configuration, and we can save money by having it, but we can also use it for other purposes. He's willing to listen to that, with if it's within reason, as long as some of it has an application towards the government programming, which, as we all know, it doesn't always emanate out of town hall or one of the buildings. It can be, coming out of many other buildings, fire departments, it could come out of, an interview that gets done in a remote area. In fact, if it's more convenient, looks better, and it happens in Harbor Media studio, and it's a select board member being interviewed, I mean, isn't that the same, really? It's just a different location. So I think that's a positive thing. But what it does is it brings back the proposal process to this committee in terms of looking and evaluating the request, and then being able to do that. It wouldn't be just a foregone conclusion that Harbor Media would just go direct to the town and sort of ask for the money that way. So that was something that went through.
Well, it gives you, because there were gray areas where they said, well, it's not a camera, it's, a fly pack. Well, we could, advocate for, getting a fly pack versus, doing cameras, that kind of thing.
Right.
So maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, it might be a more efficient use of the equipment, because if, fixed cameras, if there's a room where it's only getting used once a month, that makes no sense.
Right. And I think we also put our war in, at least I think John did, where the money that we get from the cable companies is for PEG access. It's not just government. So that 5% that the town has, although it is more 50% for government, it's for PEG. It's for everything. So it's not as the money can be used for more than just getting the select board meetings.
I think Tom was just asking for the courtey to be able to go to him, give him the rationale, and so that they consider it, because ultimately the town can elect to spend it the way that they feel is best served for the town's interests, I suppose. But I think it opens up other possibilities, and I explained to them that Michelle has been spending a lot of money out of their operating budget for capital, and that's like not necessarily always the intended use for that operating money.
Well, we used to be fair, we were funding it through our reserve funds, and the new contract we signed in May changes the amount of reserve funds that we have by almost half. So now we don't feel comfortable doing that. And then we kind of have the confluence with the capital request the CAC did approve this fall. And then I went for reimbursement and was told, no, there's a indication or delineation between if it's housed in our facility or a town building. So I appreciated you all bringing that up with Tom. When I met with Tom, he was very fair. He said, come to me at the end of your fiscal year. Because we did spend that, it's about $20,000 in capital that we felt was important. And a lot of that is used for government and education programming.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, particularly things that are, like a server, or, the things that get the channel on, not the technical things that do that. I mean, that's serving everybody. So whether, if those things live at town hall, then fine. If it makes more sense for it to live in another, place where it's technically cheaper or can be controlled or monitored better, then that makes sense too.
Yeah.
I think my overall impression was, I think we got a better lines of communication going on just how the money, where the money's going and whatnot. And we're ever hopeful that the assistant town manager will have a more active role with the CAC, so that we can you know, because these gray areas, you got to have a little discussion going on. You can't kind of just plow ahead. So
I think a little bit of the takeaway from the meeting also is, and Tom was very candid about this, that he gets hit with so many requests and says yes to everything a lot, and then it just gets overwhelming in terms of the priority list that he has to deal with, and sometimes we're not on the top of it. It's not that he intentionally wants to ignore it, but I think that we need to really look towards the other assistants and people that are in the town hall to help make that happen. And I know it's frustrating, but and that's why we brought up also the issue of where are we with the production grant agreement, because we want to get that going. I was very emphatic about, look, we need to get the RFP out, we need this solved quickly. And as well as the educational coordinator thing, we need to basically have that addendum that the schools were asking for, so that they can have a delivery that makes sense, and that it would work with us. I know that John, the council for the town, reiterated that we do have an agreement, in the side agreement with not side agreement, the agreement with Harbor Media, that it is 2 programs a month. That's what it's sort of codified in that agreement. So we have sort of this side agreement with you guys as well. But I think we don't need to split hairs. I think we discussed that the idea is that we're going to try and create that much volume. And it's just that we need to look at it from a more dynamic point of view based on the schedule of the schools. I mean, it's more difficult at different times to be able to deliver a lot of programming, particularly when they're on break or school vacations and things like that.
We might as well talk about that now. Heather, what's your understanding? I mean, right?
Well,
I know that you wanted to make the couple of changes. Do I just hammer away at John Coughlin? I mean, what's your understanding of where we are with this thing?
if we could go back for a second, John, you said that there's an agreement with the schools in the town, like already in place. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, I mean, the agreement I was talking about is with us and Harbor Media, where in there we had the intention that we wanted to get a certain amount of deliveries out of the educational component.
It's a provision in our contract
And there's
to get a certain amount of programming from Hingham Public Schools. The exact verb, I can't remember the verb, but we're supposed to, I don't think it was enforce, but it was a word that basically says we should be getting this from you when they put it in our contract. But it was brought up that the town and the schools should have their own contract too, because I'm not the boss of the schools.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of this was because we were doing that agreement, and we thought that agreement was going to be signed way before even we were doing the agreement with Harbor Media. So
Yeah.
it was sort of the dog and the tail. It kind of got reversed a little bit.
Yeah,
Yep.
different superintendent.
Timing wise.
Plus, we wanted to. The reason why there's obviously 2 is that we wanted to get some money to the schools for the position. So that's the separate piece for that. So yeah. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, Heather.
So did Tom? I know you were following up, Dave. Did Tom get, or where are we with those 2 agreements? So that,
Well, that's what I'm. Well, that's what I'm trying to get to is.
I mean, there was some emails going back and forth, and I think you were going to follow up on that.
I did, and all I want to know is, does anyone, because I can certainly put together the agreement, but as Heather, as far as you know, is there anyone who has a version of the document that has those 2 lines that Dr. Adams wanted to put in floating around someplace? Because I have yet to see that.
Yeah, I think I sent it last week
Okay.
to the CAC email. So
Because there's
but
one that
I can
signed.
resend it. Yeah, whoever revised the original one, I took those revisions and then just added the wording that Dr. Adams suggested.
Okay, so I will. So what I'm signing up for, and John knows what we're talking about. And now we're talking about John Coughlin knows what we're talking about. I'm gonna send that document to John saying this is what we want. This is what we're all working to. When can we? How do we get this thing signed off? I don't think you have to go to the select board and go through that whole thing. I think Tom Mayo can take care of it. Money.
Yeah, Dave, I mean, I think I have the draft agreement that Heather sent, and it was sent on March 10th.
Okay.
And it was a response to your thing, and she copied me and probably John on
All
it.
right, so we'll use that document. Is everybody is okay with that? We'll use that document that she
Yeah.
said that has the, okay, that's the one. That will be the one unless someone tells me otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, my experience has been when you get more than one person updating a document, you get into version skew, and that would be bad. So we'll do that. All right. Anything
Okay.
else? Heather, anything else in education aside? Just get the thing signed? I mean,
Yeah, pretty much. I guess I have an update from our last conversation. It
let's
wasn't
do it.
It
Let's
wasn't an agenda item, but I know
Gotcha.
we discussed possibly, you know, altering the subsidy to the media teacher to, you know, pull it to a club or something to get the
Yep.
students more creative and stuff like that.
Yep.
That can't happen just currently as the budget, you know, the situation we're in right now. So reallocating any monies from the education budget to something else just wasn't a
Not gonna happen.
conversation.
Okay.
So you know, to get this media class to have this understanding that, you know, the district should be providing some, but also, you know, it can be student based and stuff like that as well. You know, I think it kind of some representative maybe from the CAC or Harbor Media or something like that at the very beginning of class, and it really possibly over the summer needs to be a further conversation because it's not in the curriculum right now, right? They have their different lessons and projects and stuff like that, but you know, I'm not sure what they are, so I think we have to just be more creative and you know, put our heads together in terms of how we're going to generate this content, because right now I don't think that's in terms of the media class, I'm not sure that they're, you know, expecting anyone to send it to Harbor Media or they have that medium right now. It's just, you know, me dropping in contributed content to a Google Drive with Aaron and, you know, stuff like that. So it's not as set in stone as, you know, we would hope, but I think.
Well, Heather, could you what do you mean by contributed content? I mean, in other words, does that content fulfill the delivery that we're looking for, or is that something different?
So from my understanding, contributed content, it might be a cable access word or just a word that Aaron and I use, the education coordinator, but is it, education producer?
Yeah, well, the official term in the contract is education access coordinator, but we call her our senior producer for education. But the contributed means someone sends us a video, they'd like us to air it on TV, it meets our standards, or we do a light polish on it, could be from anyone in the community. And Heather, that's in the tracking document that we all have, the education tracking document, and you can see where Heather has given us content, contributed content from different buildings in the district, not from the TV production class.
Right. So
In other words, if somebody came up with a teacher said, hey, I made this awesome little video that I did, you know, 25 interviews with kids about why they love history, and I put it together, right? And they said, I want to get it on Harbor Media. They could do it. That's contributed content as well. What's not contributed content is Aaron producing something. That's something that Harbor Media is doing.
Yeah,
So
that
there's a distinction right there.
The document, it's in there. You can see what
Yeah,
we produced
right.
and what Heather has provided us with.
Right.
Makes sense? Yeah. Okay, so gotta get that thing signed.
So does this mean that you don't think we're going to be able to fulfill the agreement this year because of the inertia with the media classes to be able to actually ask the students, hey, you need to produce a few things that we can put on the air? Or I mean, it's like somehow or another it's not in the, you know, I mean, it just gets to a point with me where we've been going for like 8 years waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's been a lot of this kind of like it never gets done. And I say next year when we fund the position, maybe we fund the club and we don't fund the position, and just tell the school that, you know, we decided to go in a different direction, or we'll decide to give that money to the production grant and let there be a little side production grant that Harbor Media can manage, you know, like the production grant thing that we have. I mean, there's a lot of different ways in which we could spend that money. Because we haven't got, I mean, over the years, if you look at the 8 or 9 years that we've spent on that money, it was more than 20 grand at one point. We haven't got a lot in return. Other than just, cable money to underwrite a media position. So that's my own point of view about it. And I think we just got to get it, we got to get it done or we're going to lose it, because I'll advocate for that.
Yeah. Well, Heather will give Heather a chance, right? Give her a chance.
I totally understand the point of view. I just think the conversations weren't happening with the appropriate people. If the contract came across people's desks, the current administration wasn't even under the impression that it was a current contract, that the media teacher was being subsidized. So there just were too many unknowns. And does Rick Swanson, the principal of the high school, for example, know that we're going forward with this, and that the possibility that it wouldn't be funded if we didn't contribute it? It's just we need to sit down. I mean, it's middle of the term. I mean, it's just, how do we facilitate this, right? Okay, John Rice, you go and say, kids, we're going to have to make some videos. And you know what I mean? How do you suggest we get the ball rolling?
Well, I do think that you have, if we talk to Aaron, of course, we have that meeting tomorrow where we can talk about this some more, because I think there are definitely ways to do it, and then Aaron can help, maybe be somebody who can help orient the schools to what the expectation might be, right?
It's just, we did get kind of far in the conversation with the previous interim superintendent and assistant superintendent, and it came down to one salient point. And that was that it is not currently in the curriculum. It's not up for Harbor Media to dictate to the teacher, definitely not to the students. They're not under our purview. It really comes down, and what the previous superintendent and assistant superintendent said was that this is a curriculum issue. It is not part of our curriculum. We have a set curriculum. This deliverable is not part of it. So that's where it stalled. And then we had an interim superintendent, and now we have a new administration. But that was the defining point that says, no, Harbor Media, you cannot engage with our students and insist. We have no leverage. We did offer extra credit for 2 years.
I remember that.
It's great. And the TV production teacher passed along our flyers and was happy to offer extra credit in the class for videos that they would submit, and no one took us up on that. There was a video submitted by that class, by the class, but they have 2 sections of the class. So one section filmed and one section edited. And then we did a polish on it for music and lower thirds, and it's airing right now. So that's a good model, and we can use that. But the point of the conversation was that the class is not currently taught with okay, you're working on this video because you're learning this key component of TV production or video production, and then that is going to air on TV. That part doesn't exist, and that's really not for Harbor Media or Aaron to do.
So I guess the question is, how do we get that done so that we fund it next year with that in mind? Because that's the spirit of the agreement. That's been the spirit of what we've been asking for years. I take a little issue with the fact that nobody knows about what we wanted. I know the media teachers, they were on the board, and we'd had this discussion ad nauseum. So this is not brand new to a bunch of the legacy people that have been, who are still even at the school. And I understand Dr. Adams is new, and Andy, the principal maybe is not aware of what the thing, but the bottom line is that we're underwriting, a position, and in return, we've always sort of said, wouldn't it be great if Harbor Media could get some of the benefit of that by having, videos that would be submitted. We're not asking for something that's, out of the realm, I think, a possibility. So, maybe we just need to have a talk with the powers that be at the school and say, how do you integrate this into your curriculum next year? Mm-hmm. Or number 2, could we, what do you think of the idea of us giving it to a video club, or as another option? or we create a production grant situation where, you know, people in the school system can apply for the production of something, and there might be some funds for the kids to be able to do their own thing, but I don't know whether that makes sense. So, I mean, there's a number of ways in which we can try and help facilitate it, but I think we would have a healthy debate about where, you know, because I think, Dave, every year it's not set in stone where that money goes.
No,
It's every year we vote on where it goes.
I
Yeah.
presented that summary just to kind of carry it forward because I agree with, you know, what you've just distilled, John. I think the conversation is with the district and the school. There is, I believe, Heather, if I understand at the district level, there is someone who oversees that particular curriculum. It's not just the teacher making decisions about the curriculum. And so it was suggested by the prior superintendent that the conversation happen with curriculum at the district level as well as the principal and the teacher.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't good. What it was made very clear to me, which makes a ton of sense, is that Harbor Media was not dictating the curriculum, and
No,
that
I
wasn't dictating the curriculum. But somewhere at that level, people in the room, Heather, I think what you're saying, because the schools are in a tough position right now. You're talking about taking away funding, but that's part of their budget. So those are the people I think at the table, and then Harbor Media, and then specifically Erin, because you know, it's not fair to put Erin in a position to say, you know, TV production teacher, you better give me my videos. And she, you know, it just doesn't work that way. But I think those are the people that should be in the meeting, John. And I think that it would actually accomplish a lot of what the CAC is seeking.
I mean, this curriculum discussion is brand new, Heather. I mean, this thing like, oh, this is why we can't do it. This is a brand new idea. It's never been brought up over 10 years that we've been trying to get this off the ground. When we had other members of the, you know, who were members of our committee that were the media teachers and things like that, never seemed to be the issue that was stopping everybody from doing it. So now this is, maybe Dr. Adams has a different point of view about, you know, the way we need to do it appropriately so that it's done well. But we should sit down and have a conversation and say, how can we make it happen? And if we can't make it happen, how can we fund it in a different way?
that's fine.
Maybe I'm old fashioned, but it seems to me like having your content broadcast feels like a perk. Like, hey, my stuff was on TV. Like,
Yeah.
did the
Yeah.
kids not? Does everybody not?
No, I think
tune
that,
in?
I mean, my overall impression is there's been from where we're sitting, there's been a lot of turnover in who's running the schools. I mean, we've had 3 different superintendents, and you know, so I get that. Plus, they got a gazillion things going on. So cable and videos is not going to be high on their list. I get that, but you know, to John's point, okay, if it isn't working, we'll do something else. You know, but I'm fully appreciative of the fact that there has been a lot of turnover at high levels in our school system, and I just want to give Heather a chance at taking a run at it, and you know, and maybe it'll work out. If it doesn't work out, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, I think to you know, to make the discussion a little bit more analogous to what other school systems are doing.
Sure.
I work with a superintendent at a public school, and he'd be tickled to death to be able to do that. And he's setting up a media curriculum where people can produce stuff. He's, you know, very interested in doing that. So, you know, different people want to do different things, but you know, perhaps going through mass access, Michelle, and finding out if there are any other systems, you know, like 1623 that work with school systems, and how do they do it? Maybe we could ask them, like how's it work? What do you get? What do you don't get? You know, that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, maybe they're not subsidizing the schools, but maybe it's worthwhile to go outside and look at maybe some analogies out there so that we can present those as well as like, here's how it works at other places.
Yep. So
Easily put
that-
something on the listserv. It goes to executive directors throughout the Commonwealth, and just ask if there's a similar arrangement. It might bring a fresh idea to the table.
Yeah.
Heather, you got it. You need some. Do you want to on your contact, or we can do the other John? I mean,
Can you say it one more time? Sorry.
I'm saying you needed someone. I definitely think you should have someone. We used to be a lot bigger, and we'd have someone that was always assigned to doing the schools. But you're okay with John being your liaison with the CAC, with the schools to work through this stuff, or you know?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think I was just I have a bad habit of being sarcastic.
No,
When-
no.
so
It's a good
I
habit.
yeah, so Michelle, I appreciate, you joining that conversation. It really does come down to curriculum. I mean, everything does, but to John, your point, how has this not come up if this has been, subsidized for this long? That totally makes sense. But yeah, there are department directors for each core subject. So looping in that curriculum director, possibly the interim superintendent, because they're the ones who can make, changes to classes and things like that. And, I just don't think we've physically sat down and had this conversation. I know perhaps the CAC has, and different, people that are at the school and stuff like that. It's just, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying that we need to have this discussion to move forward.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
agree with
Yeah.
you, because it's been a series of just sort of misunderstandings and a lot of changeover at the schools between Dot and then, different superintendents. But, going back a long way, like we funded a robotic camera in one of the lecture halls, and the understanding, we had whole debates about it. Couldn't we just tape some lectures that the teachers are doing and we put those on the air? Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Give us the robotic camera. And we did, and we funded it. And, so nothing happened. And so there's a lot of times, like, I guess I just sort of venting my frustration as we ask for things, but that doesn't seem to bear fruition. And I'm not big on the bureaucracy of everything, but I understand that that's the world we live in. But, I just like, I just don't think it's a big ask to get, people in the school system, whether it's, it could be a sports game for all we care, just as long as we're doing something. I mean, and to John's point, I think the kids would be tickled to death to have say to their parents, hey, look at my show that's on 1072 tonight. I mean, I think that's a good thing. And that's just something that the school should be excited about, not resistant to.
Yeah, I don't think there's any resistance. I think,
Rules are rules.
Well, and it's not just that, it's just, the administration is focused on what they're focused on. And there wasn't a communications position at the schools. And really, I would be the appropriate person to facilitate meetings like this and conversations like this. I mean, it's just like, you have a conversation with someone at town hall, and if a few months pass and they haven't, gone anywhere with it. It's just, I would be that liaison with that. I mean, I can start that. I can't speak to what has happened, but I know I can understand that, we need to meet. But again, it all does come down to curriculum. But if it can be, a simple change, or like an extra credit, you submit a video a week and, one student a week is chosen or something like that. Like, that would have to come from the curriculum directors. You know what I mean? And I don't even know if they're aware that the media teachers.
we'd be
you know what I
glad to
mean?
sit
Like,
down with
certain
them.
people do, but the ones that need to make the decisions don't.
Yeah. Well, we'd be certainly glad to sit down with them and figure out the solution.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll
Yeah.
I'll facilitate that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good.
I'm glad we got Heather. That's all I can say. I'm glad.
All right, good.
Okay, moving right along. Where is as yet again, now my last document I'm trying to track down, there was an addendum that we wanted to do to the Harbor Media Agreement that was signed. Michelle, do you have any idea where that document is right now, where the official document is?
I did send it to you. I did send it to you guys, but John
Did-
John Coughlin drafted it,
Okay,
and the CAC reviewed it and approved it.
we're good with it. Yeah, okay.
So in terms of process, I've been in communication with John Coughlin, but it's been a while. I know the next thing that needs to happen. I've stopped by town hall, and like John said, they just have a lot of things. We kind of stalk the select board agenda. We do it because we cover the meetings, but also to skim for Harbor Media's addendum on there.
Yeah,
So that's what we're waiting on. we're waiting on the addendum to be that you all recommended for approval, reviewed
Yeah.
and recommended
Yeah.
for the select board to approve that addendum. And that paves the way for us to launch the grant program. It also, very importantly, and I've communicated this a few times, our annual financials are not filed. We filed an extension that gives us through May
Yeah.
because it is such a significant portion of our funding that's being restricted. It's over $350,000
Yep.
that our auditor wants the official documentation.
So on my end, do I just call Coughlin every day? I mean, how do I get this thing
Really
done?
not him. He took it as far as he could.
Yeah.
And he's asked, he CC'd me on the email. He's asked for it to be included on a select board agenda. So
Okay.
that's what we're waiting on, because once it's on an agenda, they're going to look at it and make a vote.
All right. So I'll take the action item to hammer away on Heidi or whoever is running the agenda up there to say, are we on the agenda April 4th? Are you going to look at this thing? And if the answer comes back mumble, 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 I got a problem, because I really want this thing done.
Well, why can't it get on that 28th one?
They didn't want to do. I only want to hit one meeting with all our stuff. I don't want to try to get to the 28th and get into the 4th. Scheduling anything with the town is a nightmare for me anyway. So if I can just nail them down to April 4th, have them in their hot little hands, the 2 documents I want them to approve, I'm golden. But if it's not on the agenda, they're not going to make it. It's going to go off. We're going to miss the date for Verizon. I don't want any of that to happen. And so, whatever I can do to get this stuff pushed through. I know everyone's busy and, we're low priority. Yeah, great. But, I'd like to be on somebody's agenda. That's where I'm coming from. And
yeah, but you were already on the agenda for 28th. It's just
no, I wasn't. No.
You weren't? I thought you said you were.
You can think you've got everything, but unless you have someone in the hierarchy who really has the official ability to get you on an agenda, you're not on it until you actually see it. So
I see. Okay, I thought you were. Okay.
No, I've been telling them. Asking for it doesn't necessarily get you. So
Okay. All right, that's fair.
It's like setting up this Zoom meeting. I mean,
there's nothing like a deadline then with the Verizon contract where the money's going to flow to get on the agenda, I guess, huh?
So, thanks, Michelle. It's funny, when I was up there, he says, "Oh, Michelle was just here yesterday." So, I know I'm being a little harsh on town hall. They are a little stressed at the moment. But, my goal is to get these 3 documents done on April 4th. Okay, Verizon, education, Harbor Media. If I can get those 3 done, I'm a happy guy. We can move on to the next thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any more discussion on the magic 3 documents? Going once, going twice. Why don't we revisit the CAC request, which thank you again to Michelle for now that she has access. We can actually get them processed. So let me see. Let me share what we got there. So John probably doesn't know it, but we assigned to you a little piece here where it says John Rice suggests alternate graphics. Viewers appreciate larger graphics. Did you know you had that action item or not, John?
Yeah, and I've spoken with Michelle and Ryan a little bit about the. I mean, ultimately, to me, if the channels, I know that they had a redesign a number of years ago, and they had a company that did it that was very print-oriented company. They weren't really a videographic company, and I know there's a style guide and everything, but to regularize some of the looks in the lower thirds and things like that, and perhaps and networks do it and update it constantly. I mean, I once did a whole network ID package, which was where they did the lower thirds, where their bug was, where their locators were in the right corner. It's a whole process to do that, but the one that I was more concerned about was I felt like the one for the the government channel seemed to be a little bit, you know, sort of big. It could have been improved. I've talked to Ryan a little bit about it and Michelle a little bit about it. So I think it's sort of, you know, being considered in terms of making it. I think, you know, I think the logo is a little bit too big and things like that. And I know there's a number of rationales, and it's always a process to kind of, you know, because everybody's aesthetic is slightly different. But from my point of view, I just think that that graphic look could be improved a bit, and still do the trick of being able to let people know what's on, what's not on.
Yeah, I think the way we left it, John, in the last meeting was that if you wanted to present an alternate, you know, idea for the government lower thirds, I think that was specifically what we were talking about. Otherwise, I mean, there's so much branding invested in our current logo. And then the feedback that we have gotten from people is that they like our lower thirds to be large. My issue was, I think there was one meeting that we edited in post, and the lower third remained over a presentation, which is not acceptable, because then you're blocking information. And so it's just in that edit, and in a live meeting, and then in the edit, you have to make sure the lower third is not visible. We take it down when information is presented on the screen. But when you have speakers, we like to say, this is the meeting you're watching. We've got the Hingham Town seal, select board, and the date.
Yeah, I've talked it over with
I
Ryan a
hope
little bit. I think that there's some other ways that I think you could do it in a more elegant fashion. That's my own point of view. He
No,
sort
but
of,
I'd like to see it. That's where we left it. Was
Yeah,
I'm open to
yeah.
it,
So
but I'm
I've
not
had a
gonna
little,
change it for like change sake. But I'm totally open to see, because I do
Yeah.
know you have this experience.
yeah. I think that there's just better ways to improve it. I'm not saying get rid of your logo. It's just there's always ways to update and make the same logo look a little bit different and be resolved in and animated or whatever it is, you know, transparent, more subtler, smaller, you know, there's just ways to take that look that you have already invested in and go from there.
And we do that, like, I don't know if you guys have seen, you know, our animated graphics. We have 3 different options that we do at the end of our videos, different treatments, same logo, you know, shots of Hingham, aerial shot of Hingham, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
we do try to switch that up and keep it visually appealing. But I'm definitely open to a design idea that you might have for our
Yeah.
our lower thirds for government. But right now, the feedback is, you know, people like things large that they can see. And then my commitment with the staff is, please don't cover up information. Please remember to take it down when there's something on the screen other than people talking.
So for my list here, do you want to call this resolved? Do you want to keep revisiting it?
Yeah, I think it's been in discussion. It's the kind of thing that will evolve.
Okay, John, if you have something you want to send us, I welcome it. I just want to say that again. I do know you have the experience of creating the look and feels for network television, so we'd be silly not to see your ideas.
All right.
Yep.
Got that off my list. Okay, can I show up tomorrow and get my lawn sign?
Sure thing. Come on down.
Okay, John, you want me to pick you up one?
I'm down there tomorrow. I'll pick it up.
Oh, well, get me one while you're there then. Get 2, all right?
Which
Alright.
lawn signs?
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
We're trying to do more promotion to make sure people can see that we have a HD assignment. You know, the part of the problem is you can't get viewership unless people know it's on. And so the idea was they had done original lawn signs, and we had sort of said, you know, you got to make it so you can read them from it's outdoor advertising. You got to be able to read the numbers, you know?
Yeah.
So they've hopefully.
Lawn signs are regulated in terms of like size of what's typically allowed, approved, right? Like realtor signs and political signs, that kind of thing. So John brought up to us, look, like make the channel numbers bigger, because we're got to have our logo, got to have a URL. We're probably going to add a QR code to the next one. And we love promoting the fact that we have HD, because that's not something that a lot of community media stations have. And so we're getting too much on there. And then Kaylee did a redesign where she made the channel numbers more prominent, larger. So we did another printing, and we've had a number of people. I've asked Town Hall, but they can't put up a lawn sign for different reasons. So we can't put them on what we think are town-owned properties. I'd love it if the schools did it anyway, because there's so much education programming. So anyway, lawn
But I
sign.
think having some of those on easels or something like that in town hall, they probably let you do stuff like that, you
Yeah.
know?
Well,
could
we
do
have
that.
our flyers that we're allowed to put up in town hall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we could talk to them about that maybe.
Yeah. And the-
I mean,
actually-
so, places where there are more, there's a lot of traffic,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, on a somewhat unrelated note, I think I floated the idea of having a monitor in the hallway, whatever, that's running the channels, but I don't know where that went.
Yeah.
You know,
So our idea on that, Dave, because I agree with you, you get so much foot traffic on the first floor of town
Yeah,
hall.
yeah.
Even if we could just have one monitor, which would just require power, we're not going to be able to loop it into the cable feed. So we would just need to update on a thumb drive and have it loop like
That's
local
fine.
programming.
Anything.
And then just have the sign, Harbor
Yeah.
Media, Comcast 1072, Verizon 2131. And I think that would be very powerful.
Yeah. Is there anything I could do to help move that along, or am I kidding myself?
We actually had good feedback from Bill Hardigan about that, but because they were moving so many things around, it's been quite a process over the past year. So I'll
Yeah.
re-bring it up.
Okay, I'll stick it on my list.
Mhm.
Okay, the last, I don't know why that link didn't work on there, but
It was off yesterday. I see it was working today.
okay, where I'm coming from is so I'm booking, surfing the web, blah, 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 and I say I said, oh, I want to see the on demand for whatever at Harbor Media, and when you go there, when you just type in Harbor Media dot whatever it is, it immediately asks you to sign up for a newsletter, and I'm not interested in that. I just want to,
So,
where's
yeah,
the
I
on
can
demand
explain
thing?
it.
Yeah.
If you want to type in the URL, just go to our site, harbormedia.org.
Well, let's for instance, these are all, you guys see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right, these are all the websites for everyone. So if I click on us, like so, that's what you get. Subscribe.
Go to the top, Dave. Go to the top.
You're missing the point. Up here in like 3-point
It still
whatever,
works.
but I'm just saying from a visual kind of guy,
Mhm.
the minute I see this, it says, I don't want to subscribe. I just want to know, how I can get to on demand. Because if you go back to, where the heck was I? Go back to here. Let's pick one. Pick a local town. Let's pick, I don't know, somebody local. How about Weymouth? They're local to us. Where's Weymouth? Boy, there's a lot of them. I didn't know we had that many. Jeez.
Massachusetts has the most community media stations of any state in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was just reported at the annual Mass Access meeting.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, here's Weymouth. You hit Weymouth. Well, what do they come up with?
They're not listed, are they?
Yeah, they're listed. Weymouth Community TV.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I didn't see it at first either.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they don't have one.
Oh, I didn't see it. Can you see it now? I can't
Yeah.
see it. No, why can't I see it?
Third up from the bottom.
No, I mean it's still loading. It's not. Yeah, I clicked it, but it's loading. What the heck is? Let's try.
Might be the wrong link.
Maybe their site is down. Let's see. Let's try. Let's try Braintree. BCam.
No, they're not.
There you go. Okay, so this is BCam. They say, welcome, hi, here we are. And what they push is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, which is kind of closer to what I want, because I want to go to YouTube and I want to look at on demand, but they don't,
they don't have an on-demand system like we do, which mirrors our TV channel.
I guess what I'm saying is they're not asking me to subscribe. They're giving me some information.
Did you read my notes?
Yes, I did.
So what did it say? What did it say?
That the media,
how many subscribers, how many new subscribers have we gotten in 2 years?
And you think that's because our landing page makes you subscribe?
Dave, that's exactly where it came from because it populates automatically. We track that. We updated
Wow.
the number.
All right.
We updated the number when we saw your request. 115 new subscribers in just more than 2 years since we implemented a landing page.
Okay,
A
I'm
link.
with you, but I'm
provided-
just saying, of all those websites, you're the only
Okay,
guys that are doing it.
Listen, do you want to honestly? And I've talked to 2 marketing folks in the past 2 days, not because of this, but they're doing podcasts in our studio, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah,
So I gave you guys a link that says
Okay.
why a landing page and capturing an email, which has to
Okay.
be opt-in. It's regulated. You have to opt into an email. Why that is a top best practice marketing technique. It is the only way you can grow your email subscriber list legally, legitimately. So we've increased our email list by 22% in just over 2 years, which is 115 people that we tracked came from that landing page. Then specifically, Kaylee looked at dates. It's always after a public event, we get a surge, 10, 15, 20 people subscribing
Yeah.
because they go to our webpage. So why do we care about our email newsletter?
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Because we're pushing, that's
Yeah.
our push. That's our marketing push for our programming that month, our programming highlights, how to work with community media, how you can share your own story. Like that email newsletter is gold to us because there's a lot of people not on social media. And on social media, we're promoting videos with a video on demand. So my point to you was when you pull up harbormedia.org and you see that, it doesn't require you to put in your email. It's still an interactive website. All of those buttons at the top work, whether you put in your email or not.
All right,
But it's far too valuable for us to get rid of. 115 people have subscribed in.
I'm good. Okay, I'm good with the subscribe thing.
Okay.
Could we just make you must have picked the smallest font known to mankind for that top menu. Can you make them a little bit bigger? Could you do that for me?
So Dave, I will tell you because I'm getting older, that you can adjust. Check your upper right because you might be on you might have a smaller visual font. And I check mine all the time, make sure it's at 100%.
I don't know. It just
I have to agree, Michelle, I have to agree with Dave. I think
Gee.
maybe you can split the difference here. I do agree with you that you need to get capture names and things like that, but I don't think that's the only purpose of an IPTV type of landing page. I think a redesign that would be maybe looking at some of the other channels that are out here just to give it a think. Because I think you can do both of these things, but I think to a certain degree for people that come on and they go, oh, you're going to lose people too, because not everybody wants to sign up. In fact, I'd love to see the research of when people go to a landing page, how many people actually do people say, I don't want to get junk emails. So I think you kind of have to split the difference a bit, That's my own personal opinion.
Out, the website is completely functional. All of the key tabs work. You don't have, it's not restrictive. You don't have to enter your email.
No. I don't think
No,
we're
we're not-
disagreeing with you that
we're
you
not
have your
disagreeing.
things there. I just think it needs a redesign because I think that the smallness of them and the prominence of the sign up for the newsletter takes precedence so much over the other links that I think that if you just maybe did slightly different redesign and less emphasis on the sign up, but a little bit more on whatever the IPTV thing, it might be your demo reel, it might be whatever. I would just like to be able to see other things more visual because right now it's just really kind of blank to me.
So
That's
what we could do,
the landing page.
What we could do is an A/B test for, let's give it 60 days. And instead of the what's called a landing page, which is what that is, we could put at the top right under our banner, we could put sign up here for our email newsletter. So it's no longer a landing page and it's on the home page. But just realize the more things you put at the top, the more you're pushing our videos and our visual down, because you're competing. And I agree with you on web design. You're competing for that top third of whatever's fitting on their screen. And it's really not the computer anymore. It's on their smartphone. So that's the space that above the fold for all of us who used to read newspapers. You're competing for that space. So if you have your logo, which you obviously should have for branding, and then you have a subscribe to email, because that is so important, you guys. 115 people in just over 2 years. It's 22%. It's fabulous growth. I had to give Kaylee some kudos on that, because that's part of her job, is expanding our outreach. Then it just kind of pushes other stuff down. But I will relent and meet halfway and say, action item.
Action item.
That, please, you don't have to have a marketing.
Yeah, I
background.
mean, I think that marketing shouldn't be the only thing that
Large
drives the programming channel, because it's ultimately an IPTV type of channel. So the programming should, to me, be the dog, not the marketing be the dog and the programming be the tail. So that's the emphasis that I believe you ought to consider, and I think doing some tests are a good idea, but also looking at what other systems are doing. And I could ask some other executive directors what they think of it as well, and get some other unbiased opinions of people that are doing it.
But what I would be interested in is, it's a couple things. It's, are you guys capturing emails? Because it has to be opt-in. Please understand that that's regulated.
No, that's fine. It's just
You can't just start adding people to your email list, and you have to have an unsubscribe feature. These are things that have been around a couple of years. But are those other systems, do they have an email capture? Do they send a newsletter? If they have an email capture and they don't have a landing page, is there a sign up? Like, I've seen a couple of things. The other thing I think is important to say, that it is important to see what other systems are doing. But if they haven't grown their email newsletter 22% like we have, then that means that what we're doing and we implemented 2 years ago is working.
well,
and
actually,
very important.
we have some.
Remember, we hit the Instagram subscribers over 1,000. So we have more than New TV. That was a concerted effort to grow our Instagram followers. So that is extremely important, that we're growing our Facebook, Instagram, our followers, because that's expanded outreach. And we have a couple of strategies to do that. We did an amazing video with Hingham Education Foundation and with the Hingham Arts Alliance. They have tons of followers. So when we do something with them and we tag them on our post, and then you'll see in the monthly summaries, we list who's tagging us and their post, we're being exposed to groups who didn't know Harbor Media existed. We get new likes, new follows, hopefully people signing up. Like I said, 115 in 2 years, people added to the email list. That's growth. That's how we stay alive. That's how we get new people producing programming. That's how we get people tuning us in, right? Like that marketing growth. I took a note. We'll take down the landing page and we'll add it at the top. Sign up for our email newsletter.
Boy.
We'll do it for 60. We'll do it. I don't think it's funny. Like, we'll do it 60 days, but if we're not adding email subscribers, that means the landing page works, which is a proven marketing best practice, period.
Well, I guess my question is, I just browsed through, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them. Nobody does it like we do.
Are they growing their email list? That's the desired
But
result.
why is that the end all be all? To me, like a service would be more promoting your programming and having engaging people to want to get involved with, to go down the pipeline of your website and see the programming. Signing up for the newsletter shouldn't be the end all be all. I think it's an important thing, and I think you actually have a very innovative thing. I mean, I'm looking at NCTV's thing right now, and it's engaging and visual and interesting, but having a sign up thing that would be prominent on the right corner as opposed to maybe the sponsors might be a really good idea to do. And to me, I think you'd get more signups if you had something like that. It would be more engaging. Right now, I think
so where are we signing up? And if you don't understand the purpose of our newsletter, I can explain it to you and how that pushes programming.
I know what the purpose of a newsletter is, Michelle. I don't really need to be told that. I mean, I'm just saying my own point of view is this is, being able to see something that's visual on a landing page would be more engaging. And I think when I look at web design and things like that, to me, I find that to be more best practices rather than, sort of like a sign up list, which I personally am sometimes not that engaged to want to sign up, because I think that I'm giving away my email, and it's a marketing, ploy capture. I think you alienate some people with it too.
So It is extremely important that we have an email list, and I'm extremely proud that we've been able to grow it. The reason why the email list is important, we use it to promote programming. We're using it to promote the new grant program. It is our only push notification, period. That's it. So if we don't grow our email list and we're very responsible with our email newsletter. We're not a consumer group. We're a nonprofit that does community TV. So I don't think anybody's afraid we're trying to sell them anything. It is that is push marketing, and that is sending people our programming lineup, who we're working with, how they can work with us. And we do it once a month, very responsibly. And you have to have people opt in, and you have to have an option for them to unsubscribe. Those are the rules for that. I agree with you. An engaging site is great, but what is the call to action? Just because someone has an engaging site, which we should and we do, that's great. But what behavior is it asking for? Are you immediately going to turn on the TV because you saw something? Hopefully, we want them to do that too. But if not, we want a once a month communication, a push notification for them that says, did you know we did this cool thing with Hingham Sports Partnership? Did you know that, we recorded this extremely important school board meeting, and here's how you watch? Like, it's our only once a month. And, I am listening and conceding the point that instead of a landing page, which I do encourage you to read the link I sent you on why that is a best practice and why we've employed it. But I will concede, and we'll do for 60 days an email sign up. The reason why I say it doesn't matter as much what every other community media station is doing, if they're capturing emails or not, because we are responsible for growing our email list and our outreach. And so that is a very well-known strategy that we're using that didn't exist before. And we have seen tremendous growth. It works, right? Now, I could tell you all kinds of people outside of community media that use landing pages, and their businesses trying to grow their reach. It's worked for us. If Dave had that concern and we looked and we had gotten 5 signups in 2 years, it's not working. But we've known that's not the case. We know where the emails come from. They come from that landing page. We'll do it in a different way because I hear you. In terms of website redesign, it's something that is in our plan for marketing dollars for next fiscal year, to look completely at it. And that's, none of us are web designers, but, we're pretty good at our marketing and outreach. But great idea to have a web design. It was not in this year's budget. It's something we're looking at. This past year, we did SEO optimization, and we've had that pay off time and time again. People type in Hingham video production or Hingham TV production, it brings them right to us.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
get it. We get it. We don't necessarily agree, but we get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised that I guess, it is what it is, but nobody's doing it the way we're doing it. But, if you can give it a try, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah.
And to be fair, I listen to every single idea that you have. I agree with almost everything. We make all these changes, but I actually don't know how anyone can argue with the metrics of growing an email list 22%, and it's our only push notification.
I hate the public access to be the tyranny of analytics completely. We're not in a marketing thing completely. I mean, I think that to a certain degree, we're providing a media service, and you want to be able to see the programming well. So, I think that it's a good idea for you to try and capture the names. I applaud that you're trying to do that. I don't think it's necessarily an either or situation. I think we can maybe look at a new design, look at a way of being able to maybe accommodate a little bit of, people get to a landing page and they can see programming and see promotion about the thing, know that there's government channels, see the channel assignment for their cable, whatever it would be, but and then have your sign up be, hey, do you want to learn more? Here you go, sign it up. I think they'd be more engaged and want to sign up, my own personal opinion. So
yeah,
I think it's just worth trying out, because I think right now the way it looks, it's a little bit like I don't know whether I'd want to sign up really.
Okay, well, it's important that everyone realizes the full functionality of the website there. It's not restrictive. When we're getting ready to promote our April boot camp, it's a video boot camp. This will be our third year of doing it. We do it in April, we do it in August. The email newsletter is a way to promote that. Of course, we put it on social media, but not everyone's on social media. Not even if you're subscribed or like something, you're not going to see every single post. And you definitely, you know, realize that you have to see something more than once before you would take action. So that newsletter is very important. I love that we've grown it, and I think we should continue to grow it. I'm very interested, and I will report back. We'll take down the landing page. We'll put it up as an email sign up option, and we'll do that for 60 days and see what kind of engagement we get. It's not true A/B testing because we get more response. We get some responses, but we get more responses after a public event. So maybe we bring it back right before a 4th of July parade or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe a good, you know, if you, for data wise, if the landing page actually made it easier for you to get to the on-demand thing, maybe your numbers for on-demand would go up. I mean, you know, because you know, right now, you know, the internet is a very visual thing, and that's not very visual for me. But I just want to get to the on-demand thing. I don't want to sign up for the, and you know, I know it's on there, and I know you can get to the on-demand link. I know that, but you got to go find it. And the way most people work, you know, when they're browsing wherever, they got like 5 seconds or whatever, and you hit that page, I'm not getting on another spam list. I just want to see the Veterans Parade or whatever. You know, what's going to get me the quickest? And all the ones I scroll through there, all of them gave me some kind of a, you know, oh, here's their on-demand button, you know, hit that and I can get there. You know, I mean, it's just.
Well, you know, Dave, I've looked at a lot of community media websites, and most of them don't have on demand.
Well, I don't mean on just something besides a form. I mean, you know, you know.
Okay, so the other thing I'll look at is, and we did change this because you guys asked us to change.
Yeah.
You wanted it to say schedule/video on demand.
Schedule.
Because of that length, there's a certain font size that fits.
Okay.
So all of those buttons at the top remain. They don't change the space, location, they're still visual, and you can click on it whether you put you want to sign up for email or not. It doesn't change. They don't diminish in size.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
still
yeah.
available. Anybody can click at it. I'm hesitant to start moving those buttons around because they're right at the top. And like I said, that first part of the real estate on your phone, right there. I'm gonna.
Yeah, maybe we do. Maybe we have a different meeting where we just talk about, you know, our online presence, and we fund some kind of website design.
Well, I mean, I think Michelle brings up a good point. I mean,
Funding,
you
it's
know,
part of
when
our
you're
budget.
thinking about when you're talking about web redesign, you have to think, you must think about mobile optimization in these
Yeah.
days.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So I
Yeah.
think that, you know,
Yeah.
all of these design sort of things are
Yeah.
worth developing, and I think
Yeah.
you know, we've talked a little bit about what our point of view is, and in terms of, you know, the importance of getting people to on demand more quickly. And you know, maybe we can split the difference. Like maybe that just means let's do a test, let's go see what it happens, and I think that's what we've agreed to. I think we should just move on.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, John,
Yeah.
what do you think?
What do you think?
So, and this is maybe a little devious, but whatever. So, because I've been playing around with some of this on my own personal website, it might be possible to have the website work in such a way that when you hit the splash page, you see a link to video you might be interested in, but when you click on that link, a pop-up solicits your engagement with the email newsletter. So it sort of puts a,
Yeah.
you know, in that way, you know that you can get to it, and maybe you'll be enticed by the pop-up, and maybe you can dismiss the pop-up. I don't know if that works as well as having it right on the splash page, but it might be worth looking into.
Yeah, I think all these are good ideas.
Yeah.
That would allow you to have more, you know, a bigger
Engagement.
presence of the things that Dave and John Rice want to get to, but it would fulfill that need of making people stop and think about engaging with the newsletter.
Yeah, and then you could Well, if you do cookies, you could say, if the guy dismissed it, you don't bug him again. Because if I went to that website and every time I click something, I got a pop-up, I'm never going to that website again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can hit me once and I can opt out once, but I don't want to see it every time
You're a very jaded internet user, David.
What?
You're a
What?
very jaded internet user.
Yes, I am.
Well, I mean, certainly things like those sign up things I mean, it could live on the landing page and it could live on a sub page as well. I mean, it's not like you can't have links that go to multiple places in case that's whatever's, convenient for it. But again, it's a design challenge.
So, and I should tell you too that this was the result of a website analysis that we had done 2.5 years ago. And it was a student analysis, but it was part of a class at Emerson. And this was the result that they actually asked us about our email list, how we are tracking, what communications we did. They did a whole analysis, and this was a suggestion. And like I said, we've had terrific results, with capturing and growing that email list. I know the business that we're in, but we have to communicate proactively and share about the boot camps, the programming, volunteering, crew with us opportunities, all that stuff that you see in our newsletter once a month. So I'm definitely open to ideas. I guess what I really want to get across is how important an email newsletter is to us. We get a lot of clicks and engagement with that, and the fact that we've been able to grow it during, maybe kind of a tough time. It's a best practice. So when that suggestion was made to us, they made some other suggestions that we took on. We listened to that analysis. We actually just went through another analysis with a different class at Emerson, and we got some feedback. And like I said, the web design will very likely happen next budget. So, starting in July.
Excellent.
2.5 years is
A long time.
centuries in internet time. So
Yeah.
it's very good to hear that you're keeping current on that, Michelle. And I think, everything changes so quickly. The current information on that score is really important.
Yeah. And we can't make drastic changes because
Right.
we work with some folks who getting on the internet, Kaylee used to go to Linden Ponds just to teach people how to access our site before COVID. That stopped at COVID. But so we have a population that is interested in watching our programming, and that we literally have to help. And I've had people come to the studio when we've shown them too how to watch on demand. So we don't want to make drastic changes. So we're going to protect the integrity of the brand that we've built, but we are definitely open. And like I said, we've gone through 2 analysis in 2.5 years.
Michelle, can I ask a request, if it's not too hard for you to do, is that can you give us, even if it's just over the past year or 6 months or whatever, like a month by month, like how many new emails, distinct new emails that you got based on the coming from the website? Can you give us numbers of how effective it's been?
I put it in that document. We've gotten 115 new signups since we
when?
implemented that, which is 22% of our overall list.
And that's since when?
That was since it's not been 2.5 years. It's like 2 years and 3 months since we put that landing page up.
144 in 2 years? 144 in 2 years?
115.
115 people in 2 years?
Yep, and that's 22% of our total list.
Yeah, okay. Seems okay.
Well, we beat that to death.
Yeah.
Next up, next meeting. When do you want to meet? I think we were saying Tuesdays was a good day. So I've got Tuesday the 11th at 7 o'clock.
Well, what time? What day is the select board meeting?
Select board is the 4th.
Well, do we have to meet to approve whatever Verizon's going to get back to us with changes and things?
I think we're good. We've beat it to death. I don't think we have to. Yeah.
Yeah, but what if? I guess what if Verizon doesn't agree with a bunch of the things that we've suggested, like if they don't agree with the capital money and they don't agree with
Okay.
certain
All right,
language, are we just gonna have a subcommittee that's gonna agree to that and push it through with Tom, or as
Yeah,
opposed to having a formal meeting?
No, I'm okay with a subcommittee to do that. We don't, but yeah, I mean, we can obviously have a meeting anytime we feel like it, but as far as a regular meeting goes, I'm pushing for April the 11th.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And yeah, if we have to do anything ad hoc before then, we will definitely set that up. Okie dokie.
Yep.
All right. So moved. Can I hear a move to adjourn?
Did you guys go over the previous minutes?
We did not, John, you didn't do minutes from the last meeting, did you?
Yeah, they're all, you all have all the minutes.
Oh, okay.
Except, no, I take it back. The last meeting, I still owe you minutes.
Okay.
Two
So
sets of minutes that have not been approved yet.
right. So we've already approved all the meeting minutes except for the last meeting, and we'll do that next time. Right, John?
Yeah,
No.
that's fine.
Okay.
Not
I
true.
still don't, yeah, I know, John, you're having a lot of trouble because they're still not updated on the website.
Oh, they're not. Uh-oh.
Okay. I'll work on that alongside Dave. And let's put it this way, I will make sure that you all have all of the minutes up to and including tonight's minutes
Okay.
later this week, and then we can sign off on everything at the next
Batch
meeting on
mode.
April 11th. How's that sound?
Excellent. Believe me, it's not, believe me, I don't have people knocking on my door saying, oh my God, where's the minutes? So don't worry about it. It's
Okay.
fine.
If I could add, that's been and I know John Lawler has done his part and they've not been posted, but it is important to our auditor and our board, because we have all these things going on with the town. And a lot of the kind of waiting, maybe our filings could have been filed if the minutes had been posted. It would have been like one more thing that maybe would have helped. I know, like I said, this is not a knock on John Lawler. I know he has tried everything to get those up to date. And then some of the meetings he gave, they were posted under the wrong months. So
Oh, I didn't know
maybe it's not the community, but because it involves like our operations and our funding, that was kind of my interest in bridging a gap between our board and auditor and then what was happening in the meetings. I even sent the videos, but I needed the minutes.
Right. The meetings from 2022 have already been approved in subsequent meetings.
Okay.
The town just needs to update them on the website, and I'll bug them some more on that.
Okay.
Some meetings from this year we do need to still sign off on. And as
Okay.
long as I have to write up the minutes, I'm going to make sure I track whether or not they've been approved by a motion in a meeting.
Okay. We'll get there. I feel bad because we gave it to the new guy, and but he still shows up, so that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. All right. Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
I'll.
Aye.
Aye. All right. The next regular scheduled meeting will be April 11th. We're ever hopeful that we will be on the select board for a sign off on the documents on April 4th. So stay tuned. To contact the Hingham Cable TV Advisory Committee, you can reach us at cac@hingham-ma.gov, or you can visit our webpage at the link shown here, or just scan the QR code. Thanks for watching.